Okay, today is Sunday. It is 8:18 p.m. It is February 15th. And I have now received a new mission to go for consistency. And there's a word called impulsivity. Okay? It's called impulsivity. And I experienced this despite the fact that I'm poor and flat broke. That I went to Costco and experienced this thing called impulsivity. Because what happens is at Costco, there's a lot of things that are on sale. Okay. When there are a lot of things on sale, even if I don't have money, I'll get one or two. So the idea was for me to go to Costco to get a bag of uh, bag of potato chips. Okay. What is it called? It's called what's it called? Uh, I forget. What's it called? Oh, Ruffles. It's called Ruffles. Okay. The idea was for me to go to Costco get some Ruffles potato chips. Okay. Now it's got a lot of sodium in it. It's not good for my health. But I remember when I was in elementary school, my mother would be a custodian. Okay. A far better job than what I'm doing. Okay. Uh, a worthwhile thing. But she wasn't getting paid very much. Okay. Because she was working as a custodian. Okay. But it paid the bills. It paid the rent. I mean, it paid the mortgage. It gave me new pants. But getting new pants was difficult when I was younger, because as soon as I finished the bag of potato chips, large bag of potatoes, in the back when, I mean, these bags of potatoes were huge. Okay, because there weren't as many people around, and uh, these bag of potatoes were humongous, and I would eat the whole bag. Okay, and I had that must have been, I don't know how many servings that was. That must be like 200 servings or something, and I ate it all. And I had the sodium intake, and what sodium will do is it raises the heart rate, and it elevates the temperature. And what it does, it would cause my legs to expand, so my pants were small. The pants that I had, I mean, the pants that were cheaper back then, but it still was pricey, and it's not. Yeah, it reminds me. It reminds me of my own kids. I had no clue. I had no clue. Okay, that's the mind. The mind is essentially. I mean, it's, if the mind goes, and it's all over, right? If the mind goes as I start to age. Okay, and now here I am. I'm detracting. Okay, but anyway, so if the mind goes, everything goes. Okay, look at Bruce Willis. Things like that happens. Okay, things like that happens. It's old age. Okay, it just happens. So now I'm at Costco, and that's on sale. Okay, usually those things are like $10 a bag now. I mean, the inflation has hit so much. There's like 8 billion people trying to get Ruffles, and 8 billion bags, like five bucks each. That's $5 billion. And there's a demand for it, and so I go in there and I see that practically the tier two, tier three, tier four has all gone, and only a bottom, like a couple layers were there. So I immediately grabbed two bags. My intention was to just grab one bag, but I grabbed two bags. Okay, I grabbed two bags. So, uh, so I may have been overdosed with this potato chip. I bet I ate the whole bag in 2 days. Okay, at my old age, it's not a good thing for me to do that. It's not a good thing. It's not a I need to be careful with the diet that I have. Okay. Otherwise, otherwise, it's the mind. If the mind goes, man, it's lights out. Zombie land. Okay. I could be coasting through life without the brain. Just, just, just coasting through life without even knowing anything. And then at the end of it, like 20 years down the road, huh? If I ever become conscious of what the situation is. Okay. So now, then I picked up two bags. Luckily for me, as I was walking out, okay, with my cart after I paid for it, okay, with my hard-earned money, and And thank the owners of West Side Drive-In. Thank you. And thank you the customers who customize, who are the customers of this restaurant, which are allowing me employment so that I can survive. Okay, I can survive because of the people who are patronizing. Okay, not patronizing, but patronizing the restaurant, which is great. Okay, so I am thankful, and I am also thankful of Regis for allowing me to work here to see if I can make this work. Okay, I am grateful. Okay, just never forget that. Okay, so then it is always this thing called so like even buffets. Okay, even buffets. Like I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, oh my god, you know, they have this a buffet, a pizza buffet, but they have these salads, and it's about $12.50, including tax. Okay, including the salad. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna have some salad. I'm gonna have some spinach. I'm gonna have some iceberg lettuce. I'm gonna have those other salads, and then I'm gonna put some like mashed potatoes, and I'm gonna put some macaroni, and I'm gonna have stacks of pepperoni, and I'm gonna put some honey mustard right over it, right over it. Maybe I'll sprinkle a little bit of croutons on it. I'll put a little carrots on it, and I'll put some black olives on it, and I'll sprinkle a little bit of cheese on it, and then I'll dab a little bit of eggs on it, and things like that, and make it good. And then on the way back to my table, then I'll grab the other plate. I'll take the other plate that I have, and I'll put like a cheese and jalapeno chicken pizza slice on it because it's a buffet, and I'll put two in there because that's my favorite. And I don't want to put the other stuff in there like pepperoni because it's mostly just a little bit of cheese and a little bit of pepperoni. Okay, so then they have this like a vegetable kind of thing, which has like apricots and what is it, apricots? Yeah, apricots and and what is it, squash and things like that, and a little bit of a little bit of onion, a little bit of light cheese on it. So that's a little bit healthier. So I'll stack it on there and I'll bring it back to the table. Right? That's delicious. Okay, that's delicious. Right? And then what I will do is that they'll entice me too because they have this coupon. They have this coupon that says if you buy 10, you get one free meal. Okay, so that means that coupon, the punch card will sit in my wallet, constantly reminding me, causing me to be impulsive. Okay, creating a impulsivity. Okay, then I think about once in a while what I do is there's this Chinese restaurant. Okay, I haven't gone to the Mexican buffet yet, but there is the nice one on Overland. Okay, so then there's a Chinese restaurant, okay, and they have this they have this platter full of like fried rice. I mean fried shrimp, okay. And so what they do is they dip it in a very light breading, and then they fry it. Okay, they fry the thing, slightly salted, slightly battered, and then they fry it and they put it there. And the frying makes it a little bit. It creates that taste. See, if I go to a Chinese restaurant and I order a main meal, it tastes better. It tastes good. Okay, but when you go to the buffet, they don't make it as good as they should. Okay, even the fried rice is like it still tastes like it's like a day old because they haven't warmed it up enough yet. But when you go to a sit down restaurant and you order a specific fried rice, they cook it so that it's warm and things like that. It tastes good, right? It tastes different, but it is good enough, right? So then when I go to a Chinese restaurant and I go there and I take 2 cups, and one of them is egg drop and the other is sweet and sour, okay? With bamboo shoots and like that. So I grab that, put it back on the table, right? And then I have roughly about 3 platters. One platter in this particular restaurant has a salmon bake. So I take a big dab of it, put it on top, put it there. And then underneath it, I put a little bit of regular rice with fried rice in it, a little bit like that. And then what I do is I take that plate and I put it back on the table that I have, And then they ask me, hey, do you want, what drink do you want? And I say, hey, I want ice water. So they have ice water. Then I go to that platter where it has like fried shrimp on it. I take a bunch. I mean, these are not little tiny shrimps. We're talking about like this big shrimp, right? Big shrimp like that. And so I take a plate full of it, and then I bring it back. And then what I do is I go to the table where it has this main dishes. Okay, so I take. See, I like the beef portion of it, beef broccoli. I take a bunch of beef broccoli, making sure that I have a lot of beef in it instead of the big broccolis in it. And then I go to the chicken section, and I pick a little bit of chicken, just a little bit, not too much. Okay. Then I go to the area where it has the where it has the rolls. You know those rolls, fried rolls. Uh, and then there's a skinnier rolls that I have. I grab a few of those, and then I put it back, and then I walk over. Okay. And I walk over and grab the extra fork, extra spoon, and then grab the hot sauce. Okay, sriracha hot sauce, and I go over there and I munch down, and then after I'm done with that, so that's the Chinese buffet, and because of this impulsivity, what I will do is sometimes, even though I don't have any money, okay, and that's the last, so I would have literally, so that costs roughly about $13.70. Okay, it costs about $13.70. Weekends are more expensive because they have the popcorn shrimp in there, right? They have this, what is it called? Shrimp something? Lemon shrimp or something like that. Okay, so they add that part of it, and it's dinner, so they just charge $4 more. Okay, so that's the Chinese restaurant. And because of this impulsivity, sometimes it tugs at me. It drags me into like going there and eating this because I consist on a regular basis on ramen, milk, and cereal, and hot dogs. Okay, and then French bread and canned soup. That's how I exist on a day-to-day. That's how I existed for the past 5 years. Okay, so this impulsivity, this impulse comes in and tugs at me for quite a while. When I was working like 6 nights a week as a dishwasher, what I was able to do, I can afford like going to a buffet on a regular basis. Okay, I can do that. I was able to afford it and still be able to afford brand new shoes and things like that. But I have excluded myself now in order to put more time into thinking about trading, which I desperately need. Then there's another restaurant. It is essentially a home style type of restaurant, which essentially has pastries like German chocolate cake. Then there's a ice cream bar. There's a salad bar with all the pleasantries, like sliced carrots and things like that, beans and other stuff, and broccoli and cauliflower and all that stuff, and then there's a slice of cucumbers, and then the other side there's like fried chicken, actually baked chicken. It's baked chicken. Okay, they prefer to make it a baked chicken because it's a little bit healthier. And then there's macaroni. There's like baked pumpkin and things like that, right? And then on Fridays, that's especially when I like it. Okay, when I like that when it's on Friday. So on Friday, they have this salmon. So they bake this salmon. These are individual salmons that are cut up into little pieces, and then they put seasoning on top of it, and you got the salmon oil all over the place on a platter, and they put it there. And then there's like fried fish sticks, two types of fried fish sticks, and then they have like clam chowder, and then on the other side there's like a fruit bar with like a salad bar, cold salad bar, and things like that. Okay, and so what I do initially is to take a platter, and I take a little bit of rice, and then shrimp rice, put it on a little bit later, and then I go to the salmon area, and I take a bunch and I dump it into one of them, right? And then I go back and I have on the table, okay, a ice water that I'm able to consume, right? And so I repeat that until I'm full, okay? Nowadays that I'm old, it doesn't take much, but the impulsivity, the impulse nature of going to that restaurant has diminished because it's like I have to pay like a $3 uh I have to pay because I have to pay this $3 like tip. Okay, I have to pay this $3 tip, and when you add into that, and it's like $17 plus tax, it's like a $20 lunch. And because I'm old and fat, I can't eat much anyway, and so it's not. I don't have that impulsive nature to go there anymore. Okay, until now, when I become profitable, hopefully someday, then I might go there and take partake in that, right? So there's three locations where I have the desire and the need to go there and start munching on food. Okay, in the past, in the recent past, I used to buy French bread, and I go to Albertsons just to buy French bread. I don't buy anything else because the price is too expensive compared to Winco. I compared it. Okay, I compared the two, and I can tell the only thing that I can afford. But the thing is, the French bread is $2 at Albertsons, but the French bread in Winco is only $1. Okay, granted, the French bread is warmer and it tastes a little bit better at Albertsons, but it's $2. I can just go to Winco, and if I break open the crust, it's soft and moist, and it still tastes good. Not as good as the Albertsons, but it's only $1, right? So I have the urge, but recently, when I go there, they're like, "Oh, this guy only buys French bread. He's not here to buy all the other groceries. We don't want him." Okay, they don't even care whether I'm there. Okay, whether I buy a French bread. So, all right, well that's fine. I'll just go to Winco and buy it. Okay, I'll just buy it there for $1. Actually, not even $1. It's 98 cents. So I have this impulsivity to grab things. Okay, so the impulsive nature. I have an impulsive nature because what I used to do is before I had a criminal record. Okay, and before I had to file Chapter 7 twice. Okay, uh, I am unable to control my impulsive nature. And so what I would do is I would get a Capital One credit card. I would get like Wells Fargo credit card. I would get all sorts of credit cards, and these would be like platinum, which means that I mean I can bring it up to like 3,000 or some odd amount of money, which I had to keep paying. Okay, I had to keep paying for it. And then I get to the point where I lose my job, and then now I can't afford to pay it, and so now then I have to file Chapter 7, right? That was the only way to survive. Okay, that was the only way to make this work. All right. So the impulsive nature, impulsive nature causes me to do things that I will regret. It makes me regret spending money. Okay, I have literally $15 in my bank account. Okay, this happened like maybe a month or two ago. Okay, a few weeks ago, and I had to borrow money from a trading buddy of mine to pay for a challenge, which now I don't want to do that anymore. Okay, I finally it finally dawned on me that I have to do a demo count because the demo count is the way for me to recover from this uh, trading thing. Okay. See, the Asian market is open, but I'm not doing anything yet because I'm not seeing anything significant for me to enter into trade. Okay, it's slow. It's on a Monday. It's on a Sunday. But I'm not seeing anything that's meaningful for me to take a trade. So I'm just waiting for it, right? So this impulsivity, there is that impulsive need. There is an impulsive need, okay, and I fall victim to that, and so then I go into the trading world. Now I go into the trading world, which is essentially something that is, which essentially is the in between stuff that are causing me to be subjective instead of being objective. Okay. Instead of me being objective, I'm being subjective. Okay. This impulsivity, the impulsivity causes the subjectivity to kick in because that the impulsive nature is essentially the subconscious kicking in and taking over and doing things. Okay, right? It's like me going to the refrigerator even though I'm not that hungry. Okay, and I'm still stuffing myself even though that initial hunger, even though I'm fat, the initial hunger is causing me to keep eating and eating again in order to satisfy the thinking in my mind instead of satisfying the hunger that was initially that caused it to for me to do that. The initial hunger is that despite the fact that I'm fat, my stomach is empty and I need to fill something in. That's what's causing me to uh, fall victim to this impulsivity. Okay, right. So now, if I look at back now, if I look into the trading world, I realized what I have been doing. I'm very impulsive. I have been impulsive, which has been undermining my trading for the past 5 years. Okay, it has been causing a severe problem in my trading because that impulsive nature that I have is creating an incredible amount of distortion and headache in my trading in the way of undermining my financial stability. Okay, it's taking all my money. It's essentially just it is essentially taking every penny that I have. Right, that's what it's doing. So what that causes is when I see a green candle or a red candle, and also when I see it's a very simple thing. It's like this, okay? So yesterday is a prime example, and I categorize this as an impulsive kind of thing because if I am able to control myself, I'm wondering because it's a chemical release that's instilled. It's like either it's anger and it is a fright and flight kind of situation. Okay, all wrapped up together to cause a distortion in my thinking. Okay, that's what happens. Okay, let me just say, I'm so grateful that I'm employed there. I pray that I'm saying this sincerely enough that they know about it. Okay, without this job, I won't be able to do this. It's affording me this opportunity to pursue this career. Okay, so I'm incredibly thankful. And showing any, if I'm showing any uh, a contrary, if I'm showing any contrary perspective in my appreciation of that, I pray that it is mistaken. Okay, I pray it is because I'm 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 incredibly thankful. Okay, I'm incredibly thankful for this opportunity. Now, so this impulsive thing is like either anger or some sort of like frustration or some sort of emotional kick in that happens, right? So this young kid who apparently is a Catholic, and I'm doing my work in the prep work, and comes over with the dirty dish, just scrapes right across my back. Right now, that's flag number one. Okay, I'm just minding my own business. I'm trying to put the time in so I can get the heck out of there without interfering with anybody. Right? And there's a few things this 15-year-old started doing which was just like causing me to get like really upset. Okay, and so I was like, I was trying to do my work because I know I've experienced this before. Okay, I've experienced this in trading and in interaction with people, and so I attempt to stay away from communicating with other people because I know that any communication will cause, because whatever I say they don't understand. Okay, for instance, apparently the guy uh, does a lot of prep work. Okay, and so we had this instance where, so I was like grinding some meat on the mixer has an attachment where I can grind some meat. So I'm grinding the meat. I'm standing on top of a milk carton, milk cart, and so a guy comes over and says, "Hey, aren't you glad? Aren't you glad that we have uh, we've gone back to the other type of meat, which requires lots of less labor." Okay, he's talking to me about that, but my perspective is completely different. Okay, my perspective is different. So when he says that to me, he's saying, "I don't want to do any work. because it's too much headache to process that meat. That's what he's saying to me. When he says, aren't you glad that we're back to the old meat so that we don't have to do any more work, right? So he's complaining. Okay, so that doesn't register too well with me. I don't think that way. And so when I respond, he's going to get upset because my perspective is different than his perspective. I'm there. It's good for me. It's good for the restaurant. I'm willing to put in my time. I don't mind like tenderizing the meat. Okay, it's going to be a lot of work on me, right? But I'm being properly compensated for the work that I'm doing, so I'm incredibly thankful. And so either way, it's great for me because I'm getting paid, and the restaurant is doing well. And so there's no need to say, "Hey, look, aren't you glad that now we're going back to you don't talk to me." There's no way to talk to me like that, right? So there's a complete departure in the way that their thinking and my thinking is different. So when I say something, they don't see it. They see it in a completely different way. They see it in a completely different way, okay? And so what that happens is when there is a complete divergence in thinking, it causes me, I'm still wondering why my son asked me for my naturalization a certificate. I wonder why he did that. Was it him, or was it like ICE who's trying to, maybe they knew something, right? Maybe they, I don't know. Hmm. Huh. I don't remember the timeline. Anyway, so this impulsivity has been following me for the past 5 years. This 5 years. So what I attempted to do is not communicate with him, because what that will do is, so that's why, so it's like, see, a fast food restaurant, especially a fine cuisine like the West Side Drive-In, what it does is there's like three stations. Okay, the grill station, there's the fry station, there's the dinner station. And so what has to happen is that there has to be a coordination. And the person who's on the dinner side has to get everything, practically everything, run around everywhere. And so there has to be a command that is issued from the grill side to do certain things, like give me a dish, give me a plate. And so I have to give them a plate. Okay, give me some garnishment, give me some au jus, right? Au jus is the dipping sauce that's used for various dishes, okay? And so that means that, and then also there has to be a sauce that I need to put it into like 2 ounce or three ounce plastic containers, right? So I had to get that. So what that means is when things get really busy and frantic, there has to be a communication. What that causes is the emotion to pop in, and so I attempt to, so that essentially is a boiling over kind of pot of stew of emotion that occurs. Okay, it is a pot of stew of emotion. Okay, you know the witch's brew. It's the witch's brew. It brews based on the emotion that causes the distraction and the boiling point of being immersed in that kind of thing. Right? It happens to me quite often. It causes that impulsive nature to occur because the mind is being tied up in that situation. And so I have a issue with my siblings. I forgive them, but sometimes it'll just pop up, and it'll cause my mind to be like it causes my mind to be in an altered state. If I were to mention in any other way, if I were to describe it in any other way, it's called an altered state. I am literally in an altered state. Okay, a state of mind that is like altered, and the only way to alleviate that is by time and allowing the chemicals to diffuse out of my system without creating more. Okay, so this what that impulsivity does is that I'm looking at this, it falls in just directly the same way. Okay, that has been the issue with my trading. So I'm now that I pinpoint to exactly the significance of a single trade, I now realize the connecting factor between a single trade to the next trade is that impulsivity that causes friction, that causes wraps it around. It's like the white blood cell that grabs onto the foreign body, okay, and it makes it dormant, okay, all right. Does that make sense? Yeah. So essentially, from a single trade, forms a chemical reaction within me that causes that impulsive nature to occur, that causes me to take a trade. So, for instance, like on a Friday, I was taking the trades on UC. Okay, so what I did, it was in a downtrend, but I was looking at a 1 minute time frame, and I see that it popped up, and so I thought, okay, so it's gonna break up, it's gonna go back up. So I bought long, and then it turned out to be I'm high ticking it, so it drops down. So I closed it, and then it popped back up, and I thought, okay, so this time it's real. So it popped back up, so I bought it, high ticked it, dropped it, lost it again. Then it dipped, and I said, okay, so it's gonna go short. I shorted, then it popped right back up, and I lost like three of them. Okay, within a matter of three trades, it turned out to be, when I look at the amount of losses that I had, okay, it turned out to be essentially uh, it turned out to be like 4 to 5% loss, okay, from the high that I had, okay, because of that mistake, that impulsivity, impulsivity, okay. So essentially, wrapping everything around this is that I know how significant a single trade is. Okay, I need to wrap that up. Then what happens is that emotion, the outcome of that creates this subject impulsivity to kick in, to cause me to take on a trade that is like spiking up, green candle, that essentially is about to, when it's actually in a spiky kind of a situation where it's not trending, it'll pop up and it'll dip down, especially in an Asian market when it's like popping up and dropping down like that. Okay, it happens all the time because the volatility is not there. Okay, and so I fall victim to like spontaneously, impulsively taking that trade, and I will lose, obviously. And then after I lose, then I take an impulsive trade with a enormous big size, which clearly is out of the framework of logically trading, and it caused me to lose. And then I bury myself into a area where there's no way to return to this profitability, and I lose. That's what happens. Okay, that's the impulsivity that's causing me to this. That's called the tilt. Okay, this impulsivity that I have, it has been plaguing me for the rest of my life, and it's at a point where um, I'm saying to myself, what's very related to the impasse that I had, which is essentially is okay. The impasse that I have is like um, not having all the information before prior to trading, okay, which causes impulsive nature, okay, because I don't have the information. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, I don't have all the information to correctly decide whether a trade is in the right setup or not, and I take the trade. That's the impulse. And the second part is getting into that that tilt kind of mode, which is causing me to just lose and lose and lose and lose, and into oblivion, right? So that is the component in my trading, which is causing me to be impulsive. That impulsivity is has been plaguing me for the past 5 years, and that's why I haven't been able to make further progress in my trading. Right? When I was eating like oatmeal, maybe it calmed, it lowered the heart rate, it allowed me to focus on what I needed to do. Okay, that's why. Okay, it feels like I've reached the point where like it feels like I've reached the point where now it literally feels like I have uh it feels like what I need to do is like collect my thoughts and then pick away this impulsive nature that I have. I am impulsive. I am impulsive. I am essentially impulsive because maybe it's because of the laziness that's in my thinking, okay? Maybe it's because maybe it's because maybe it's because of the laziness that I have, right? Maybe it's because it's lazy. So now I'm wrapping things up. Okay, I'm wrapping things up. I'm wrapping it up, man. I'm wrapping it up. Wrapping. Okay, I'm wrapping things up. And that part of it is the impulsivity. Impulsivity is the electrons floating around, and protons and neutrons are essentially the 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 meat of the meat of trading, which is essentially like like the setup, uh, profit target, entry, and the stop loss and all that stuff. Okay, so once I get that firmly in place, that the that impulsivity is that hazy little wiggly things that are happening around, the chemical drip that is imposing its will upon me to bring out the subconscious side. Okay, uh, so now I'm finally addressing the nature of my existence as a trader. Okay, my existence as a trader, right? That's the impulsivity within my trading.